Hello everyone, welcome to the MedReach podcast. Top-notch talk with healthcare experts by MedReach Knowledge Sharing Forum. This is our inaugural episode and I am your host Roshna. Let me give you a small insight about what is MedReach Knowledge Sharing Forum. We are the only one to focus on healthcare management knowledge sharing. Our forum helps you to connect with healthcare industry experts. This is the right place to share our best practices, queries, and interesting articles related to healthcare field. To share and seek in all the streams of healthcare field, join with us today. Visit http://knowledge.medreach.in. Today we have our guest, Mr. Sandeep Premnath, to speak on the topic Circumstances of Multispeciality Hospital during COVID pandemic. Mr. Sandeep Premnath is Assistant Manager for Operations at PSG Hospitals, Coimbatore. He has more than 7 years of experience in hospital operations management, who is very strong and black belt certified in implementing Six Sigma Kaizen value stream mapping, process management, training with industries. Welcome to the MedReach podcast, Mr. Sandeep. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Roshina, for your opportunity. And I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Uh, Tell us about yourself, Mr. Sandeep.
Well, I'm basically a Coimbaturian and I have a passion for the business and business management. I had pursued my school from Staines School, Coimbatore, and my graduation in BTech in Information Technology from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore. And again,
Uh-huh.
I did my MBA in Operations Management at PSG Institute of Management. So this is my alma mater, and yeah, you can go ahead with your other questions.
Okay, let's jump into the podcast and share us about the time you stepped into the leadership role and how you felt about it.
Okay. Leadership, as in, it just bloomed when I was in my post graduation final year, and it was the times when my professor had given me an opportunity to lead the team of my operations colleagues in various disciplines. So we had projects everywhere, and we were working on live projects at PSG Foundry and PSG hospitals. And that leadership is what had built me into a person what I am right now.
Awesome, sir. Awesome. As we all know, the world is fighting against the pandemic. How are
Yes.
you handling the situation right now?
See, the pandemic was earlier when the complete globe was locked down and we were supposed to work in our own offices, right? So it was a real challenge for us. We had to keep ourselves driving beyond a lot of emotions involved in our own families. So my
Obviously.
mom, obviously, she said, "You don't go for work," and my dad somehow convinced my mom, and he told me, just go and work. Let's see, let's face it. So that kept me, basically, my family is what kept me motivated. And I really thank my family for all the support that they had given me, and they believed me. And once I came back, they took a lot of efforts to uh,
Make sure.
sanitize, and yeah, they made sure that I was completely safe, and they provided me all the food that I'm supposed to consume. So I sincerely thank my parents for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Great, sir. What were the differences in procedures and protocols from normal operations during this time? How was the operation flow in your organization during this pandemic?
Okay. The flow, generally, as an operations manager, we deal with three things. So the quality, cost, and delivery. So those three things is what generally an operations manager would do in an organization.
Hmm.
Of which his main target is to encounter the bottlenecks. So wherever there are bottlenecks,
Hmm.
I would probably give a detailing about the bottleneck. So bottleneck is nothing but when there is a flow of patients inside a hospital, there should be some queues that has to be placed everywhere, so that there are no we don't we ensure that doctors see one patient at a time. It's like a single piece flow has to be ensured to avoid a lot of queues inside the waiting hall. And so we have a lot of other activities that they have to do before consulting a doctor, before taking up a treatment or a procedure. So real challenge as an operations manager before the pandemic was to reduce the queue. So it was to reduce the bottleneck and ensure flow of patients happens to be in a faster manner, and they meet the doctor and they get off the hospital as soon as possible. They complete their treatment as soon as possible. So, but later, when it after the pandemic, we had to increase. We had to what do you say? We have to reduce the bottleneck. We had to go back to the old stage. We had to put a lot of queues in place, and we have to squeeze in places. So we ensure that the social distancing has been maintained in our waiting halls, because we were not so prepared, right? Any industry was not so prepared. Unlike that, we were also not so prepared. So we had to give a social distancing, right? So to ensure social distancing, we had to place a lot of queues, and we had a lot of workstations outside, ensuring that they are all being screened properly, and then they are sent inside the hospital. So we instead of increasing the bottleneck, we tried to decrease the bottleneck to ensure the flow of patients happens in a single place manner.
This was really an essential move to do so, right, in this time.
Yeah.
How was the employee work nature during the pandemic? Was there like work from home options in your organizations, and how were they supporting you during this time?
Actually, we had a bit of work from home also. It's like our employees who are from the management and the IT background, they had a work from home, because we weren't having a lot of meetings inside the
Okay.
seminar hall. So it was a new experience for us that your earlier webinars were happening in the IT industry, but we had started our own webinars. We used a lot of interfaces like Zoom, Google Meets, and Teams, Microsoft Teams. All these were the interfaces, video interfaces that we used for connecting people. And we tried to implement something called the tele consultancy. So, because there are a lot of patients who outside Coimbatore had to meet our consultants, so there was
Yeah.
a real challenge for them to take a consultation via WhatsApp and get their prescriptions. Earlier, we did the same thing. We used WhatsApp, and we just took a photograph of the prescription and we had to send them back, because we never had a teleconsultancy on place. But later on, we developed. Right now, it's still on. Our teleconsultancy is very much on for certain departments, and it's on the trial phase. So we work from home with the developing team, and we got things done. So that's the work from home. Otherwise, we work with a 50% capacity during the COVID times. So 50% work for next 2 weeks, and the other 2 weeks, the other 50% would be on place.
Okay. Like really, teleconsultation is a boon for the healthcare, I would say.
Yeah, it was not so predicted, no. So teleconsultancy was not so much welcome for a lot of hospitals, because you don't know, most of the doctors are not so much tech savvy. That is number one, and number two, doctors are more into a documentation phase. So they like the way it has been written. Unlike the overseas, our Indian doctors are more of this writing. They are into this most of the writing concept. They like
Yeah,
the
that's
writing concept much than the digital concept. So they were little resistant, but it was a real ease for us to ice break them and make sure that they get into the teleconsultancy for further patient consultation.
how. Then that must be a challenging task for the managers to do, right?
Yeah,
How
actually, the challenge was reduced. Initially it was a very great challenge for us, but later stages the challenge was completely reduced because of the COVID. So that COVID times we took the situation as an advantage to ice break the doctors and get them into the teleconsultancy platforms.
Okay. How challenging was to maintain the quality and like to maintain the normal KPIs and other quality indicators during this situation?
Actually, it wasn't. I thought it should have been a very challenging thing, but the actual factor was the number of patients were very less. Because of the factor that they never turned up for a lot of their regular consulting procedures or whatever. They never turned up, and our challenge was very simple. So we were meeting all our KPIs on a very ease, and we never had any unwanted flow of their attenders. So they were not. It was all restricted, and we were able to achieve our quality standards in an ease. So the quality, as far as the basic quality routines, the KPIs have been monitored. Apart from that, the biomedical waste management standards and other things were all handled by another team, technically qualified team were handling that. So
So it was
probably I was not
before.
exposed to that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What are the other measures taken apart from the sanitizers and PPEs to prevent the spread of infection, like among the patient? Did you take any innovative or like innovative kind of thing to maintain the quality?
Yeah.
Apart from this normal methods, anything
Yeah.
innovative you have did?
Yeah, it wasn't innovative, but what we did was we bifurcated the hospital into two, Roshna. Basically, we divided into a COVID block and a non-COVID block. And
Uh-huh.
we started a screening center where the patients come into the screening center. It's on a mandation that they have to come to a screening center. They get
Mhm.
screened by basic questionnaires asking for their health condition, basic health condition, and why are they here for and for which doctor they have to meet. All those things were being screened via questionnaires. After that, they were screened with their thermometers, the digital thermometers. We shot and we just got the temperature. And different case, he has been suspected for a COVID. He will be sent to the corona treating area where he's been received in the emergency area, followed by which he'll be tested for corona and then he'll be admitted into this respective wards. The non-corona patients were being sent to their respective OPDs and they were being treated. And if in case there is an admission on place, they get admitted in their respective places. And we segregated another place for also when they are going for a high level of procedures like echo or any critical surgeries, they were isolated in another place. They were tested for COVID and then we got them back to the normal wards and we started the routine.
So, if the patients were like suspected with the COVID, but also you're ensuring they are getting the treatment and their purpose is getting done.
Yes, we ensure that all the patients, whoever has walked inside the hospital, is getting the treatment 100%. So we never denied any service for anybody. We never send them, if in case, we follow the government rules, basically. Whatever as
Uh,
government has given us, we have followed it. And we ourselves had our own SOPs on the triaging system.
Great, sir. Um, how did you manage your inventory during this period? Like, was there any shortage of materials and you were running out of things? And was any situation happen like that? And how did you manage it?
Inventories, the real challenge earlier was to get the sanitizers and the PPEs, the personal protective equipments. Apart from that, we never had any of the basic vital and essential items were all we were getting. Only the desirable items like electronics, which we had to indent for our day-to-day regular use. All those things were pending, and we never got all those stuff. But otherwise, the vital and essential elements were all being delivered on time. And food was one of the essential items. So we had the students, we got the things from the student mess also, and we just had it for our hospital purposes. For students had left the hostel, so we had that stocks being used inside. So it was not a great challenge, as I would say, but yeah, we had a shortfall of PPEs, but somehow we were utilizing it in the right manner.
That's really important, right? To manage and use it in a wisely during the
Correct,
shortage.
because it's all one-time use. So we ensure that they don't repeatedly use it because of their own carelessness and mistakes. So that quality was ensured.
So you were given hands-on training before, like how to do all these things and how to use PPEs.
Yes, yes, yes. We had given them a daily instruction before they were entering the job. They were giving a daily instruction, and we had allotted a team. Every single person was being monitored by a team leader. So he ensures that whether he's been sanitizing his hand before wearing his mask, and he's sanitizing his hand before and after attending a patient. So all those things were being taught to them in advance, and we were regularly monitoring them. Roshni.
Great, sir. Um, as a leader, how did you motivate and uplift your employees in getting work done? Like during this pandemic, and every person's home was like same situation, right? They won't allow them to come out and to do the work. That too, mainly in hospital employees will be so much of
Yes.
scared and they have a fear of exposing to the virus. How your employees were motivated, like how you uplifted them and you motivated them and keep them engaging during this time.
Actually, it was to my surprise that before entering the office, I had a thought that I had to motivate them. I had to get my staffs on place. How do I convince them? How do I get those staffs working? All those things were in my mind before the entering my office. But it was to my surprise that I saw all my staffs were actually working on a regular basis, which means whoever were allotted their duty, they were all working. So it was to my surprise. And the previous day, we had given them a few formulas and instructions. So the formula was very simple from mine. It is just a 20-20 formula. 20
20,
seconds of hand wash.
uh,
Yeah, it's a formula. 20 seconds of hand wash, 2 feet distance, zero infection. That's the formula I had given them. This year is 2020, right? So everybody can actually remember that this year is 2020 and the 2020 rule applies for all. So that's the formula we used. And otherwise, I had told them that you are not safe until everyone is safe. That's the another slogan that we have to tell it to ourselves. So if any one person is infected, he has a potential of infecting two,
yeah,
which in turn tries to mutate and goes to a lot of people, right?
yeah.
So you are not safe until that particular person has been recovered from COVID. So we try to explain them, understand them, and we taught them a lot of things. I ensured that I spoke to all my staffs. I ensured that they were all following the standards of the hygiene practices even after going home. We made them explain to their family members, ensuring that they are all safe. So that's what I said. We are not safe until everyone is safe.
Obvious.
So family members have to be safeguarded from a lot of things. So we ensure that their family members are also being highly protective in a lot of things.
So the commitment and the team play in this really plays a major role. So,
Extremely, extremely. See, not only if you think I'm only leading the show, definitely I cannot say it's every single individual person in my team is what is who are all involved in this COVID situation. So it's not a complete one man show, and one man cannot take credit for his efforts. Definitely, it's my entire team which worked along with me, my top managers, top management personnel, and my ground level staffs were completely supportive to each other, and we joined hands to fight this COVID pandemic.
So glad that you got a great team probably under you.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was really happy. Earlier and all, we used to think how our team would perform and all that. But after this COVID only, we had a lot of learnings. Learning in the sense we had a lot of self-learning and team learning, team building. All those stuffs were learning for us during this uh, 3 months, last 3 months, I would say.
Sure, that's true one. How did the management see this situation from employer perspective in handling both an employees and patients, and also in dealing with the financial aspects? As we all know, there was not so much of flows right during this time, and how the
Yeah.
management was seeing this situation. What are the tactics they? I mean, how they handle this?
I would sincerely thank my management, PSG institutions, for being so generous towards the employees as well as to the public at this point of time. We were all supplying. As per the hospital, we were all treating all sort of patients. We never neglected anybody, as I had told earlier. When it comes to the PSG institutions, we were supplying food for all the poor and needy who are all traveling on by walk to their respective natives. We're providing food. So our managing trustee was so much involved in ensuring that all things are being safely packed and sent to their respective people. And we were all supporting our Coimbatore collector. So that's how. Otherwise, also it's a team effort. So we were in part of the Coimbatore government's team, and we were helping them in handling a lot of other aspects. Otherwise, financially, I heard that a lot of salary cuts had happened inside
And there
the
was some salary cuts where
city.
mo-
Yeah, but our institution never did that. They were generous that they had paid all our wages on time, and we paid all our vendors on time. So it was completely the self effort by all our staffs to come on time and ensure that the payments and the salaries were paid to all the employees, despite working 50%. Uh, we paid all the full month salary. So we really thank PSG institutions, the managing trustees, for this generous activity.
really.
Yeah, it's basically a charity institution, and it's been functioning for so many years. So, despite the loss that might have incurred for the financial basis, but still they were generous that they had to pay their staffs because they believe that we were the ones who can deliver. Even at that particular time, their belief is our deliverables. So whatever they believed in us completely, and we still try to deliver whatever uh, they expect from us.
Yeah, sure. All the best for that.
Thank
What
you.
what was your role in this? Like, how did you supported your organization? What are the best practices and measures taken by you? Like 2020. Any other thing? Could you please share with us like this? Anything? Your total support for your organization.
Yeah, we had a tie-up with a lot of communities. We have our own community radio, PSG FM. We ensured that we podcasted a lot of activities. We ensured that the doctors were speaking to the community via those podcasts, and we had tie-ups with a lot of institutions like employers and employees institutions. We tried to get in touch with them, and they also tried to get in touch with us to have a communal talk to a lot of employers and employees. And via social media, we were spreading a lot of messages on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We were trying to, and also the Google. Our website was completely updated during this COVID time. We ensured that the communication was 100% perfect, and we ensure that we should not take our patients for granted. We ensure that visual management is on place because we have completely changed the entire setup inside the hospital. We ensure that all the staffs are aware of where the doctor is sitting and which department is where is it located. and we ensure that the patients go to meet their doctor at the right time. Uh, Despite this bottleneck being in place, they never had any form of delays, and we actually had no negative feedbacks. That was our very that was like a gift what our patients had given us. Uh, Beyond which, in spite of they having a lot of hurdles meeting
Yeah.
the doctor, they try to understand the situation. So I really thank all the patients and their attenders for their understanding.
Yeah.
So other practices are like the regular training we had engaged. We had given a lot of our staffs with stress management training. We brought in all our social workers, and we ensure that the stress management sessions are being taken to all the people who are exposed to, who will be exposed to COVID, who are exposed to non-COVID, who will be having a lot of crux. Like during the 50% of workload, they may have a lot of work. No? So all those people are all taken out of their regular routine for at least an hour dispatch, and we were all giving a lot of stress management activities. We had a lot of team building activities that had happened inside our campus.
That's
So
really
that's the
important to ensure the stress is being managed during this time. That's really great.
exactly.
Okay, Mr. Sandeep, we are done with the core questions. Let us move on to some two interesting questions like who is your inspiration?
My inspiration inside the hospital industry, I would say it was my it's our managing trustees and directors. They are my inspirations who believe us and they keep us moving. And otherwise, my personal inspiration is my from my parents and my faculty who have trained me for all these kind of things. One of another inspiration is the sanitary workers, Roshna. I should never forget to
Definitely,
mention the point. Yeah, because they were the ones who were involved in cleaning the entire city,
yeah.
as well
Yes.
as my hospital sanitary helpers who had cleaned all the wards and the toilets, despite knowing the fact that there are a lot of things. I really give a very big salute to those workers, and I really encourage that. I wish a lot of youngsters in the upcoming future take up this profession, and they don't think that sanitary work is just something low or low profile or something. It's actually a real. They were the real fighters of COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
So I really wish they have inspired me, and also the nurses and the doctors who have been boldly facing the situation. They inspired me to work. So I should never forget this, and real salute to them, Jai Hind.
Salute to all the healthcare heroes.
Yeah.
Really touching. What is your all-time favorite books?
Books, it was Masaki Imai, Dr. Masaki Imai's book, The Gemba Kaizen, is one of my favorite book. So I learned about a lot of management practices through that book, and it taught me how to make things very simple. You may feel it very complicated in working in any environment, but it is you who have to think that it's very simple and make sure that things have been done. That book has inspired me a lot. And otherwise, there's a book called Games Indians Play by Dr. Narayana Murthy, the former president of
Instant.
Infosys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
his book had taught me about the prisoner's dilemma. So how to handle how to be diplomatic, how to show diplomacy in a lot of your communications and your actions and decision makings. So that book has inspired me. And right now, a book by Dr. Elliot Goldratt called The Goal. So it deals with something called theory of constraints. So how constraints have to be handled on a daily basis is what the book says. So it's a very nice book. You can read it.
Top picks. Really, I think people will read this. Thank you for your insights about each book, Mr. Sandeep. And this is a great session, and I had a good time with you. And your 2020 formula, I'll never forget it. And
Yeah, you can spread the message.
thank you for joining with us today, making this
Thank you, Roshna.
informative.
Thank you so much for your patience and your efforts for bringing me into this board. I really thank the management, your management, for all the support they've given me. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the session. Keep gaining knowledge with healthcare industry experts through MedReach podcast by MedReach Knowledge Sharing Forum. Until the next episode, take care. Bye bye.